Be a little closer. Be a little closer to me. Jesus Christ, it's taking ages for anybody to jump on. Oh, shadow ban. Where oh shadow ban. Where oh shadow ban. Where oh shadow ban. Where can shadow ban be? Well, I want to just, if you've never been introduced to Lily, this is my daughter. She is a princess. She is loved. She is appreciated. She is everything. She is my life. She is the most beautiful crystal gem in the world. And she is loved by so many people. Okay, I just wanted you to say hello to my little love. I love it when she scratches. She does the scratchy thing. What are you doing, lass? What are you doing? Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. She could do that for ages. Something in a system, something in the DNA, something in a cellular level. There's nothing to scratch away, baby. You're not your mother's 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 mother in the Campo land where you had to scrat and make it nice and flat. It's all flat for you, babes. So why are you doing it for? Explain the situation to me. When you look at that and you realise, shit, I'm just like my dad. Certain things that I do this now. My dad used to do that when he used to beat us. When he was angry, ready to hit us, he'd do that. And sometimes his breathing, he'd hold his breath when he was working, doing hard things. And I do that now. So there's definitely something in that memory. It's got to be, hasn't there? I mean, you come from that little tadpole, his tadpole, so there's definitely something in the physical body that is inside, which is a memory, which, you know, how many people say, oh my God, I'm turning into my mum, or oh, I'm turning into my dad. You'd hope to turn into the one that you loved most of all, or if you really look at it, you turn into both of them that you love most of all. Wouldn't it be lovely to have parents, two parents that loved us with all our heart and treasured us, a bit like the way I treasure Lily, eh? But then again, she doesn't know. All she knows is being loved. She doesn't know about being treated badly, and I guess you never would. I guess that's where spoilt people come in, and that's, you know, spoilt children come in. They've never had to worry about a goddamn thing. And I think, looking back on my life, the balance of my dad being aggressive and abusive and my mum being loving, it was a perfect example of the experience of life and experiencing the difference between love and hate. And when you think about this idea of hate, and it's a fascinating subject, most people see in others hate with the energy of what they've experienced. So if you ever see somebody saying, oh, I can see a lot of hate in you, what they're actually saying is hate what they feel, and try and, I don't know, try and suppress is hate within themselves. So a lot of the times, many people, and I get it every day, all the time, you're turning hateful, and I'm like, no, I'm not hateful. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about what I talk about. Did you ever hear people who spoke with passion? So many of them. So many people speak with passion, and it's not anger. If you ever listen to the Richie Allen radio show, sometimes he'll go on a rant, and some people can't discern the difference between passion and being passionate. Sometimes can be, or can sound, or can feel as if it's hate to people who don't know, who haven't learned how to deal with the hate within themselves. So I laugh when I watch him, and I laugh when he's ranting, and I'm like, go on, because that isn't hate. There's a difference. If you ever hear somebody who is a hateful, spiteful, racist, or whatever it is, anti-religion, and my religion's bigger than yours, and they spit out this venom. You listen to Klaus Schwab's and these monsters who literally, it's venom, hate humanity, hate people enjoying life, hate people, living an earthly, free life. They literally, they hate. That's hate. And you can feel it. And when we talk about people like that, we talk about passion. I don't hate anybody. I won't waste my energy on hating anybody. It's a waste of energy. Plus it's too heavy a burden to carry. And that's a huge block in everybody's life. That's why you should never hate anybody, because hate limits you to your, forget the 3Ds and the 5Ds and the 7Ds, but the energy that you create around your body can only manifest to a certain point. And if you have hate, it stops right there, can't go any further. Hate stops energetic frequency. Hate stops healing. Hate stops everything. So discern the difference between hate and passion. I don't hate anybody. I've lost if I hate. It's just like me raising my hand to my dog or raising my hand to my daughter. I've lost. You've lost. Finished. It's over. Hate is the same thing. I don't hate. You might use the word hate, but you don't hate. You're just passionate about what you're talking about. But there is such thing as hate. There really is. I've sat with people who literally hate, and it's a venom. It's a poison. It's an energy which takes over and fills the mind. It fills the mind with poison. That's why I'm not very, very much into this idea of mindfulness. So sorry about that, guys. It's, if you listen to the knowledgeable ones, they talk about emptying the cup. Your cup is too full. Your mind is too full. Mindful. Be mindful. Just think about them 2 words. It's such it's such a joke, really, when somebody's trying to be smart with you and telling you to be mindful. That's the last thing I want to be, dear friend, is mindful. I want to be mind empty. Thus you receive information and it flows out. So you're always receiving, and it's never full. So to me, mindful, I have a different take on it. I'd rather be empty to receive new, beautiful information from our spirit world, the universe, all the good things in the world, than be mindful, than having a full mind. No thanks. You're all right, because once you've got a full mind, you become stubborn. You become stuck. You're like a pond which is festering because there's nothing else to allow in. So this again is another spell word. Mindful. Be mindful. It's a spell word, guys. But you know this. I don't need to tell you this. You become more aware of words now as time goes on, and the words that these monsters use are basically a spell to trap you into those words, so that you use them words. Then you start to repeat these words, And by repeating them, you create an energy, you create focus, you create attention, and interesting. As of late, I've received so many messages about family split, and it is sad, but I don't want to look back on my life and feel bad about the what ifs and what should have done and what could have happened. I think that is a waste of your life, and this is why I've got this on my arm. It's the but you can't see it, but it's a picture of the Buddha, and the reason why I had that there is because I was in Bali at one time, and Bangkok, and I kind of appreciated some of the knowledge, the wisdom of the Buddha, and that's not talking religion. It's talking about a man who experienced through his own experience in his own space. So if you believe that the idea of he sat under a tree for 13 years or whatever it was, that you'll learn a lot under a tree sat there. You'll learn a lot from Mother Nature, and some of the beautiful things that completely make sense, because everything in nature is everything that we are and do. We get everything from nature. Nature tells us everything. It tells us what to eat, tells us what the herbs are, which fixes us and heals us. It tells us how life is. The animals show us so many things. So being an observer is a wonderful thing, and one of the things he observed was a man ploughing with a plough, and the bull or the cow was at the front, and as he was ploughing, he observed birds come down, and because the earth was ploughed, the worms and the bugs were all fresh and coming out, and the bird then took a worm and flew off. And he observed that every action has a reaction. So me speaking now to you is an action that will cause a reaction. And the ploughman didn't know this. I don't know what your reaction is going to be, but that is a really beautiful thing. You can think of it in a negative way, or you can think of it in a positive way. So I think of it in a very positive way. And the other one is, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So we're all going to suffer in this world because it's part of the journey. It's part of our experience, whether it's through our parents, through teachers, through friends, through bullies at school, through bosses who are horrible, or again, it could be all the opposite, it could be all beautiful, but the experience is still the experience, and how we deal with it. And that's such a powerful statement. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So I decided to work on the latter. Suffering is optional. What does that really mean? It's up to me how long I want to suffer for. So I worked on myself to say, how quickly will the suffering disappear? How can I work on myself so that suffering doesn't last as long? Being a healer is incredible, because you learn to understand suffering, and you see the healing process and how to heal. So the one thing I noticed, this is very personal, the one thing I noticed is the mums and the dads that suffered so badly of their child walking away after 18 years and never wanting to see them again, or at 20 years old having a child and then disappearing, never wanting to speak to the mum and dad again because of silly riff, argument, disagreement, the father and mother poking their nose in too much, the parents, the mother of the child doesn't like whoever it is in the family, so they distance themselves from whoever it may be, mum and dad, or their father-in-law or mother-in-law, and so on. But what I noticed is the suffering of mums and dads that had to go through that was incredibly hurtful inside my heart, and to see the suffering. And what could I do? I couldn't really do anything apart from give healing and try to figure out where to heal to make that person better and stronger. And what were the words that came to me via my family in spirit, their family in spirit? There were always words of encouragement and words that told them to appreciate the fact that the grandchild is healthy and happy, filled with love, no matter what the parents are feeling towards them. It could be a lot worse. It could be that the mother could be an abusive mother to their child, but the mother is overly protective and very sensitive, and maybe what you said really affected them very much, and maybe we'll learn from what we said to them, and we'll learn to understand ourselves a little bit more as parents, that we can't just take over somebody's life, and we can't stick our nose into people's businesses and tell them what they should and shouldn't do. We should learn to allow people to make their mistakes, and if we just look up and say, look, if you need my help, I'm here. And by changing the way for the people that we love, and by being aware and sensitive to these things, and learning to forgive yourself and forgive the woman, your son's wife, who doesn't want you to see your grandchildren. Will forgive them and send love and appreciate the fact that she's protecting them, and not knowing maybe your intentions weren't negative, and just be thankful that she's a good mother, and start to enjoy your life, start to let go and forgive everything, and send presents and send messages saying, remember, we love you with all our hearts, and maybe one day you can forgive us, and we're trying to become better examples of grandparents, and try to understand more. And it's a learning curve for even grandparents to change their ways, just like it is for me and for you. We change and we adapt to what's happening, and we accept what's going on, and we're there if you need our help. It's a fine balancing act. So life and balancing everything so that you're a good grandfather, or you're a good mother, or whatever it may be. It's not easy. So you don't beat yourself up over it. You just accept, and you try and see yourself in the mirror, and certainly 100% see those that don't understand you. See them in the mirror, and look at their life and sit in their shoes and try to understand why they're reacting in this way. And when you do this, there is a miracle that happens. There truly is a miracle that happens. I only saw it with people who truly walked that path, who really wanted to heal. Hi, Michael. Who really wanted to heal. Most people say that. Hello, baby. baby. What's okay, baby? There's nobody here, chicken. There's nobody here. A lot of people said that they you know, I didn't do anything, or why is it like this, and they're the ones that could never move forward. And it's difficult to explain to somebody that you have to work on yourself a little bit more until you figure it out. And some did, and some after 5 years said, you know, Mark, I never really, I always said I thought I wanted to, and I was, and I don't want to get upset about it, but I still am, and I'm still, and you know, when you're truthful about it, that's one way of healing. Could I have one more, please? Thank you. Yeah, just coffee, that's it. Thank you so much. So, she's a lovely lady. So, yeah, if you want the truth, very few people actually healed that bond because they were so invested in the suffering and the pain that is the energy that you create, and it can be felt 1,000 miles away. So when you move on with your life with love and acceptance, and you don't hold on to that pain of not seeing your grandchildren anymore, and you accept that your grandchildren are happy, and the mother is okay, she might not agree with you and she's done what she's done, but I send all my love and thank you for being, you know, looking after my grandchildren and being a good wife, and or whatever it is, even if she's not very nice, still send your love, and you just don't be part of that energy. You change that energy. You do literally can change it. You know, there's so many reasons, and you can't put it down to simply, you know, bad luck. You can't put it down to a bad person, because, you know, a typical example is that when a woman has a child, their energy changes. There is a protection of energy sometimes not. Sometimes their energy, hormones, their biorhythms, everything changes. So the person that they once was is now completely different. So they can change, and you can't fix something that's changed. You can't fix that. You've just got to stand back and allow that process to happen, because it sometimes can take 10 years for somebody to have a child, and then to find out that, wow, I was very different when I got pregnant and had a child, and I changed, and now I'm coming back to myself again. And you know, that change can be what would seem amongst anybody else as challenging, difficult. Nobody, you know, you can't say to somebody who is imbalanced with energy and issues in the body because something's happened in their body, you can't tell somebody to behave and to be a better person and stop being like this. You've got to look at the root cause and understand why. Because most people are just selfish. Why are you being like that to me? Why can't I see my grandchildren? That's just selfish. You know, have you looked at yourself? Did you not ask why? You know, if you say, you know, I never did anything wrong. I never said anything wrong. I always was loving and kind and caring. Well, if that's the case, then something happened to that person that after having a child, that they changed. And that change is because of having a child. And, you know, we send our love and healing and hope and pray that they find themselves again, and they find the love and the healing inside, that they can turn around one day and say, I'm so sorry, I just went through a really bad time. And we go, it's okay, I'm just so glad we're here again. And, you know, look forward to seeing your children. I used to, you know, do this visualization of seeing you with your grandchildren playing together. And I'd do it every morning for 7 days. And that worked. It really worked. Especially after the healing, because there's a lot of love and a lot of letting go of painful feelings in the heart. The two places you heal is the heart and the head. The head, which is stored full. The mind is full, not mindful. Yeah, very full. We clear that, and then we clear the heart by blasting it with a really positive energy, so the heart becomes stronger and takes a lot more suffering to disturb the heart. That's why you feel inner peace in the mind, and the heart feels stronger. Anyway, it's just me waffling on about healing. Shut up now. How's your day? Good morning, beautiful souls. I hope you're doing fine. Thank you so much. Most healing energy in the world comes from our animal kingdom. There's so much positive energy around doggies, and that's because they vibrate at a frequency that we could only call love. There is no hate. It's just a very balanced energy. Incredible energy. Yeah. I remember a few years ago where some kind of science came up with this notion that they said if you got a dog and you stroke the dog, you would suffer less with heart attacks and strokes. If you take that science out of it and say that if you get a dog, they give healing to you, and they give your body a healing session. That's what it is. It's the energy. Science just can't put it into words correctly. No, I take that back. Science doesn't want to put it into the words that we use, because science wouldn't be science anymore. So science have to come up with new words that tries to pretend that it knows the answer newly. Instead, the answers are always there, and they're in love and healing and energy, which they don't want to touch because that's not science. And yet science doesn't realize that everything it says and does comes from the very existence of observation of love and healing and energy. Cheers, everybody. Yeah. They're so far apart and yet so close. And you're right, Brendan. There is a line that cannot be passed, and that is coming into the field of work of what we do. They cannot be associated with our work. They cannot agree with our work. So they have to look for another way of putting things. To sound feasible in a logical manner. Whereas there is nothing logical about life in that sense. There's nothing scientific about life. So it's a man-made creation which is not only heartless, meaningless in my opinion, but it's a lie. Because it takes from the real essence of this beautiful existence, this human life, and it dissects it and tries to put it into a box called science, which is, again, heartless, soulless, meaningless. But hey-ho, it is what it is. There's good and bad with both, and there just doesn't seem to be. It's the box syndrome, the box effect, the label syndrome, the label effect. this is you and this is us and we are different, instead of combining everything. But ego is too big in this world. Everybody wants to be the one who's got the answers. Science, unfortunately, science doesn't see things from a higher perspective. That's the whole point of science, I think. It's so low vibration, it's so low frequency. It's not having a belief system of anything. It's not believing in anything. That's why Dr. Emoto was so ridiculed, because he was breaking all protocol. He was a blasphemer. He was a sinner to the scientific community, whereas he got it right. He completely understood it. But like I said, science doesn't want to bridge this gap between science and energy. It wants to bottle it up and sell it. Okay, I'm going to work. Just on a side note, if you don't mind, if you can go to the Richie Allen radio show and make a small donation of a couple of pounds or something like that, or even £1 a week, that would be great. We don't want to lose the show. And, I'm not saying he will, I don't think he will, but I'm just saying we need to keep that show going, because it costs so much money to keep that show alive, and people just don't understand. And I said to him, you should tell people more about how much money it costs. I know how much money it costs to run my website. Freaking hell. So to be his own host of a radio show, and all the money that you have to pay out for everything, and to have a living, it's not cheap. And he does a good service for us. It's a good service. I mean, as of late, I haven't listened to all of them lives. I've done a lot of replays, and this past, I don't know, just not that long, I've got so much out of it. I've learned so much. It's invaluable. It's invaluable. It's like people pay fortunes to go to, events and listen to people speak. This is freely to us every day, apart from Friday. And I see the work that he puts into it, and the guy doesn't have that much time off. He puts a lot. I see the passion. Sometimes I don't even get to speak to him for 2 weeks, because he's like snowed under of trying to get everything right on the radio show. It's like the guy works hard. So I don't know, if a few of you are listening, if 50 of you are listening, if you could maybe do that, or even if you don't, and if you go to markbajerski.com right now, there's a chance to win a beautiful crystal. It's one of my favourites, and because I was trying to figure out what can I give as a nice prize if somebody buys a ticket, and the ticket basically gets you the any of my ebooks or any of my audiobooks or the music download. And hey, wouldn't it be lovely today just to go and buy an ebook and send it to all your friends? Just say, I know you might not be interested in this kind of thing, but this is a book of somebody that I listen to. He's called Mark, and it's called Seeing the Invisible, or A Diary of an Accidental Psychic. And there's some stories in there, ghost stories. Say ghost stories, there's people that like that. Just say some true stories in there of spooky things and things. And send it to all your friends. It's a nice gift, and it's doing something good for other people as well, because there is some good stuff in them books. I'm proud of them books. They're real life. They're not mind-blowing stories. They're everyday stories that we all go through. Well, not all of us, but a lot of us. And then there's an audio book, so if somebody's going on holiday and they're driving somewhere, they can listen to the audio book, and you can send it to everybody. Send it to 1,000 people. That'd be great. Let them. So that's a £5. Anyway, every fiver that you spend on the audio books or the e-books gets turned into a raffle ticket, and I'll be raffling next Monday this beautiful amethyst specimen, which has been with me for a long time. It's beautiful. You'll love the energy if you get it. And I'll also do some other crystal raffle prizes as well, so it won't be just one, it'll be quite a few. And that way, all that money that comes in will go, every penny will go straight to the Richie Allen Radio Show. Cross my heart, every penny of it, and more. Normally I'd chip in a bit more out my own. And, every little bit helps, because you're not having to worry about finances. And if you're not worrying about finances, as you all know, even if you give a couple of quid to him now, then that relief of no worries about finances makes you a better host, and a happier host, and a stronger host, because you're not worried about cash. Because cash is, unfortunately, you can't pay the bills, otherwise you can't live, and it's a struggle. So I know I keep going on about it over the years, but it's kind of like one of my passions. I like listening to certain people, and I support people every day, not just Richard. People think I don't. I support tons of people. I give away money and crystals every day. Every day. That's who I am. If I see somebody struggling, if I see somebody like a father wanting to take his daughter somewhere, I'll send €1,000 to them. I'll give out of my heart to make somebody happy that day. I do it every day. It's just who I am. So it's not just Richard, and it's not because I go on the show, because I love listening to the show. In fact, there's been many times I've said, I've got naught to say really, Rich. Come on the show. Yeah, but I don't really know what to say. I ain't got naught to say, Rich. Get somebody else on. Try, Sheep Farm, and he tried to contact Sheep Farm, but they were busy. So, and so on, and other people, So, yeah, we do our best. So it may be in your heart of hearts today, if you want to just do one thing, just go to the Rich Allen Radio Show and make a donation of £1 a month or £2 a month, and listen to the show, guys. Jesus Christ, it's an amazing show, amazing guests that can and don't get brought onto the mainstream media, that speak their story, speak truth, that help us, really help us. These people on his show are truly 100% God's people, God's children, if you want to call it that. Our spirit world, our world where we come from. We want to help each other through love. So, wishing you all a lovely day, guys. I'm going to go now and get some work done. Thanks for going to Bajerski.com and making the purchase of an e-book, an audio book, or the music. Thank you, guys. At the bottom of my heart, thank you. I hope you enjoy the e-books and the books, the audio books, and know that every penny goes to a good cause. Thanks. Bottom of my heart. Cheers.